159. The 52-week high was about 161, so the stock has corrected more than 50%. PSU banks came under pressure. They've had a good run, but names like UCO Bank were subdued in trade. That lost about 2%. And on the way up, as we were highlighting, it's some of these software companies, Netweb, Datamatics, Nugent Software, saw buying, and silver ETFs, Grow Silver ETF, Starter Silver ETF, Nippon India, big up moves seen in these stocks in pretty large volumes. Well, that brings us to a close in this edition of Closing Bell. Thank you very much for watching, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, the conversation with Sudeep Bandyopadhyay will continue on Markets Forward. Stay tuned.
Market snap 3-day winning streak ends at the day's low. BSE-listed companies wipe off 7 lakh crore of market capitalization. All major indices closed down by around 1.5% amid broad-based selling.
MCX withdraws additional duties imposed on gold and silver futures imposed since early Feb. Margin on gold futures is cut by 3%, while margin on silver is lower by 7% effective today.
Pine Labs surges after the company collaborates with OpenAI to engineer the era of agentic commerce in India, while Netweb sees follow-up buying for the third straight day after the launch of Make in India AI supercomputing systems powered by NVIDIA.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says no country matches India's energy, calls for global cooperation to regulate AI like nuclear energy. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei's response to the sell-off in Indian IT and global software stocks says Anthropic is not trying to replace existing industries. That's the big CNBC-TV18 exclusive this evening.
Well, hello and welcome to Markets Forward, your go-to show where we get you all the key data points for today's trading session and we set you up for tomorrow. I'm Nigel and with me is Ekta Batra. Well, Ekta, a down session today.
Hi, Nigel. Yes, absolutely. It was a down session for all of the indices today. The Nifty, which broke 25,500. We had the mid-cap index, which was down around 1.6%, and the Bank Nifty, which lost around 1.3%. So all in all, it was a slice and dice on the downside for the markets. But let's tell you what we have lined up for the next 20 minutes on the show. We have all of the big news and the key developments on the Lal Street, top corporate voices and events to track ahead. Let's kick off the day with the day's market action. And Nigel, tell us more.
Well, that's right. Ekta, it was that sort of a day, right? You had the geopolitical tensions that weighed on market sentiment. You had the Sensex weekly expiry as well that did play out. That was a technical factor at play. And when crude oil prices spike up, that's normally a worry for a market like India. So that's why, those factors, they did come together. In addition to that, the backbone of the market is the Nifty Bank. And that did come in for profit taking. And because of that, we did see that, the Nifty couldn't hold up. In fact, the Nifty Bank went home with the sharpest cut that we've seen in the recent past. And the other point was the tech index started off in the green. It couldn't hold on to that green. In fact, from the highs of the day, we did see some profit taking. So nowhere really to hide. The banks, the IT index, both of them were lower. And in terms of the advanced decline ratio, it had more number of stocks declining than advancing.
Well, yes, absolutely. In fact, I think the advanced decline ratio was probably one of the most worrying statistics of today's trading session, because if you look at it on the NSE, we had 696 stocks which advanced, but around 2,300 stocks which declined. So it was a stark ratio which only widened by the close of trade. But let's get to our first segment of the day. We have Gaurav, who joins in from the big wall to tell us about all of the top movers and shakers. Gaurav, over to you.
Well, yes, if you look at the market today, it wasn't a good day to say. And specifically, if you look at the last 2 hours, we saw a sell-off across the sectors. But it was only Nifty Pharma, which actually held in green. Specifically, the stocks like Aurobindo Pharma, Biocon, Lupin, we saw these stocks still held their position in positive note. At the same time, if you look at some of the volume-led gainers, we saw Newgen Software, Datamatics, Tata Investments, all of these stocks not only saw a sharp spike, but at the same time, we saw strong volumes as well. We also have Nitin Spinners and LDL Ventures in this list. Let's not forget about TIL Limited. Now, this is a small company, but if you look at the stock performance, it was up in trade and it was also led by a strong volumes. And this is because board meeting is going to happen in this company on 23rd of February, where they will consider fundraise. On the losing side, we have a whole host of packs, a whole host of stocks. If you look at the sectoral level, Nifty Realty, that was one of the top gainers. And we saw Lodha, Phoenix Mills, all of these stocks were actually under pressure. Nifty IT, if you look at the AI Summit and news related to the AI Summit, still, till the first half of the market, we saw Nifty IT was in green, but later on, they actually gave up their gains. We saw stocks like Persistent, Emphasis, LTI Mindtree, still remained under pressure. Nifty PSU banks, for the last 3 days, we saw this index was gaining in trade, but today we saw some pressure in this area as well. Lastly, on the stock specific action, let's not forget about Dixon Tech, because CLSA, they downgraded the stock to hold and also cut their target price. After that, we saw some pressure in the stock, and OMC stock specifically. As Nigel suggested, there was a sharp spike in crude oil because of the geopolitical tension, and after that we saw some tension rising in stocks like HPCL, BPCL and IOCL as well. So all in all, we will be watching out on these stocks specifically from the geopolitical angle. But all in all, today, if you look at market, it wasn't a good day to say for Indian market in a day today.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot for that, Gaurav. Well, let's talk about a couple of stocks then. Shares of MCX rallied after it withdrew the additional margins imposed on gold as well as silver futures. Sudarshan joins us to break that down for us. Sir?
So MCX shares are in focus today because of the company early in the morning has announced that it's going to withdraw the additional margin that was imposed in early Feb on both gold and silver futures. So on gold, it has removed or withdrawn the additional margin of 3%. On silver futures, it has withdrawn the additional margin of 7%. Remember, on Feb 5 and Feb 6, these additional margins were imposed after a sharp increase in both gold and silver prices we had seen in January and early February. But now, in the last 2 weeks, there is a sharp drop. Silver price has fallen in the range of 16 to 18%. Gold too has fallen in the range of 4 to 5%. And that's the reason why MCX has gone ahead. Not only MCX, but NSE has gone ahead and withdrawn these additional margins. So what will it do? It's in all probability, it's going to boost the volumes on commodity front, or say gold and silver front. And that's the reason you are seeing a big move in MCX despite market coming off opening highs.
Okay, all right, Sudarshan, thanks very much for that. So let's go across to our guests now, who will take us through all of their views with regards to all of these stocks which were in focus. Sudeep Bandyopadhyay from Indie Trade Capital and Richard Jain from Motilal Oswal Financial Services are with us. Sudeep as well as Rachit, thank you very much for taking the time out. Sudeep, just wanted to come to you with regards to the markets. It was a down day. Do you think it's only the geopolitics which seem to be weighing at this point in time, or the markets just can't sustain the gains that we've seen?
Well, predominantly it is the geopolitics. I think the stress and the fear that over the weekend some kind of action will be there as far as Iran is concerned, and that's spooking the investors and the sentiment. Oil prices have already shot up, and that very clearly indicates some kind of action is being anticipated. Also, today was the expiry day, so that added to the kind of volatility and the downward pressure as far as Indian market is concerned. But leave aside the weekly expiry, globally also, if you look at the European markets, they are also down. So I think there is generally a geopolitical tension, and that is kind of spooking the market world over.
Got it. Okay, all right. Ruchit, what did you make of today's market action? And if you could help us out with your call on MCX?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. Well, largely, if you look at last 2 or 3 weeks, we have been trading within this broad range of 26,000 to 25,400. But the thing is that on pullback moves towards that 25,900, 26,000, markets are not able to surpass that resistance. So I think until we see a breakout above the same, things are not looking that bullish. But on the lower side, we are the important support level that we would watch out for is 25,225, where 200 EMA for the index is placed. So far, till it is above this 25,225, it seems of a range-bound activity. Market breadth is not good, so definitely not advising to take any aggressive positions on the long side. But 25,200, 220 would be the levels where one should take a review whether any contra trade should be taken over there. As far as MCX is concerned, I think overall trend still remains positive. Till it is above the 2200 mark, declines towards the 50 DEMA are getting bought into in this stock recently. So I think any existing long positions, if traders or investors have, they should continue to stay in this.
Okay, all right. So that's on MCX. But Jio will connect India to the intelligence era. Reliance Group Chair Mukesh Ambani said at the India AI Summit, he is committed to an investment of around 10 lakh crore over 7 years to build India's sovereign compute infrastructure, including 10 gigawatts of green power. Reema joins in with more details on this big story. Reema. Well, let me quickly first run through the key announcements. One, he said the way Jio connected India to the internet era, Jio intelligence will now connect India to the intelligence era. And he said we will reduce the cost of intelligence as dramatically as we reduce the cost of data. Now, this is huge because if you remember that prior to 2016, which is when Jio was launched, data in a way was luxury. Now it's become a utility. The cost of data used to be 200, 300 per gigawatt. And we've seen Jio bring down the cost of data by more than 95%. And now it seems like they will be applying the same playbook to intelligence. And that is a big deal. So they're planning to make, intelligence, AI intelligence accessible, available and affordable for everyone. They also said that Jio, along with Reliance, will be investing 10 lakh crore over the next 7 years, starting this year. And they also have laid out their ambitions to build 1 gigawatt scale data center. Now, this was announced in the AGM. That is not new. But what incrementally they shared this time is that 120 megawatts of that will come up for stream in the second half of this year. Just to end with what Mukesh Ambani had to say, we will partner with the very best tech companies in the world, not as importers of intelligence, but as co-architects of India and India's AI century. The best of AI is yet to come. But as I said, the big announcement is the fact that Reliance Jio plans to bring down the cost of intelligence. They're manufacturing the intelligence here, and they will be bringing down that cost to make it accessible and affordable for all.
Jio, together with Reliance, will invest 10 lakh crores over the next 7 years, starting this year. This is not speculative investment. It is not for chasing valuation. This is patient, disciplined, nation-building capital designed to create durable economic value and strategic resilience for decades to come. Distinguished participants, the biggest constraint in AI today is not talent or imagination. It is scarcity and high cost of compute.
Well, in shares of Netweb Tech, they have extended gains for the third consecutive session. This after the company unveiled what it called one of the most advanced AI infrastructure offerings, a supercomputer and a personal AI system powered by NVIDIA. Vinny joins us to explain that piece of news to us. Vinny?
Hi, thanks for that. So yes, Netweb Technologies, this stock has been in focus in the last few days as well. Again, the stock has seen a sharp run up, 13-14% in the last couple of days, or more than that actually if you look at it. And why? Because yesterday there was an announcement that came in, and this was from the India AI Impact Summit, where they said that they have launched Tyron Camarero AI supercomputers as well as Tyron Camarero Spark. And this is one of the world's smallest AI supercomputers. Now, both these products will be built in India under the Make in India project, which is going on. And obviously, this is going to be with NVIDIA's Grace Blackwell architecture as well. Do not forget, NVIDIA and Netweb have been working together. So yes, there is a tie-up on that front. So that does give it a support as well. Now, what is important for Netweb Technologies and why the run-up that we've seen coming in the stock, especially in the last 1 year that we've seen the jump up, was because one, their AI story that seems to be playing out, because AI system contribution that has seen a sharp increase in terms for the revenue point of view. In FY24, it was 11%. In 9-month FY26, that contribution has moved up to around 47.6%. There are a lot of triggers like this that will work. The order pipeline they have, that is strong. They have unique tie-ups with NVIDIA, Intel, AMD. They've launched Skyless AI as well, which is an AI native appliance which is mainly built in GPUs architecture. So that is important. There is ongoing benefits that come in from the government of India's India AI mission, as well as the cash conversion cycle that has started improving and shortened in Q3 FY26. So a lot of positive triggers for the company. But today, specifically on the back of announcement and the AI trend that has been going on, that is pulling the stock up. Now, Pine Labs, that's another one that's in focus as well. And this is an announcement again that has come in from the India AI Impact. They've collaborated with OpenAI. They said that the company will embed OpenAI's APIs into the digital payment system infrastructure to enable agentic commerce in the country. So help them in terms of their app, improve it in terms of better ways just than the traditional tech way. Now, other than that, do not forget, this is OpenAI's second collaboration with the digital payments company. Previously, it was with Rosari Pay as well, but an interesting one coming in for Pine Labs.
Absolutely. Pine Labs as well as Netweb, both these stocks in focus on the back of that AI theme. Vinny, thanks very much for bringing us that data. Sudeep, would you be a buyer in any of these counters? And, we'll throw in Neogen software into the mix as well.
I think I'll be extremely cautious. I mean, these are very interesting developments. These tie-ups are definitely good. And what Netweb is trying to do definitely is commendable. But it's still too early to come at a verdict on this. Also, the valuation is not cheap. It has moved up quite a bit over the last few weeks and months. So I think I will hold back and keep watching the space. I personally believe, and whatever little we are understanding of this, we believe that this is such a fluid space that I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen, in 6 months' time. Who will win? What will technology will prevail? How things will unfold? Under these circumstances, I will prefer to stay away from this entire space and focus on stocks and sectors which are not directly involved or getting affected by AI.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Sudeep as well as Ruchit for joining in. Wishing you all a good remainder of the day. I'll tell you what, we have some corporate voices as well that joined us during the course of the day. We had Blue Star's MD, Mr. Thiagarajan, who told CNBC-TV18 that the data center industry is set to grow manifold over the next few years, with the company expecting around 10% of its revenues coming in from this segment going forward. He also flagged off significant shifts in weather patterns, warning that a weak summer could actually be a setback for the industry.
And KEI Industries' Anil Gupta says India is set to add around 8 to 10 gigawatts of data center capacity over the next 5 to 6 years, with each 1 gigawatt requiring roughly 3,500 crores worth of cables, translating into a 1 lakh crore opportunity. Cables and wires make up about 3 to 5% of total project costs. The company expects to deliver around 20% revenue CAGR over the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, all right. And before we go to a break, let's get you some key market events you need to track. Gaurav's back with us to tell us all those events. Gaurav, take it away.
Well, as for tomorrow, we have a lot of macro indicators that we will be tracking. First off, if you look at the Asian market, we have seen Chinese New Year is something because of which many of the Asian markets were closed. Tomorrow will be the first day for Hong Kong to open its market, but China and Vietnam will still remain closed because of the Chinese New Year holiday. Other than that, from the US market, we have got core PCE price index that we will be tracking. Second is the GDP data. Now, it will be the first set of GDP data for fourth quarter of CY25 that the government will be releasing. Forecast says the growth will be anywhere around 2.8%. So let's see if there is any positive or negative surprise here. And let's also not forget about the opinion day from US Supreme Court. Remember, there is a lot of chaos which is happening because of the tariffs, and there may be some decision which can be taken by the Supreme Court on tariff, and that is something that market will be closely tracking out. From the Japanese market, we will get the national CPI data. Now, why this is important is that we've already seen some interest rate action happening in the Japanese market, and which can actually shake the global market scenario, and that is something that we will be tracking. And from our Indian market, we will be getting S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, S&P Global Services PMI, FX reserves. Now, that is also something that is important to see, given that the dollar movement that we have seen in the last few days. And lastly, the minutes of RBI's MPC meeting. So that is also something that we will be closely tracking out. Let's also not forget that we will get the fortnightly loan and deposit growth data. So all in all, it is going to be a heavy day in terms of macro indicators, but we will see how it treats the market in a day tomorrow.
Okay, absolutely, Gaurav. Thanks very much for that. We'll take a short break on that note, but we'll get you some exclusive sound bites from the AI Impact Summit on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Markets Forward. Well, India's AI ambitions took center stage at the AI Impact Summit in Delhi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi pitched for democratizing AI as a tool for inclusion and empowerment. He also called for authenticity labels to distinguish AI-generated content from real content. In a CNBC-TV18 exclusive interview, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said no country matches India's energy and called for global cooperation to regulate AI on the lines of nuclear frameworks. Well, Anthropic CEO Dario addressed the sell-off in IT stocks, saying the company is not trying to replace existing industries.
More generally, India is just building incredible AI, the entire AI stack, from like data centers to models to applications, and I think there's no country in the world quite matches India for total AI energy. The models are getting good enough. We still have a lot of issues around safety and sort of security to solve with an OpenClaw-like approach, but I think OpenClaw is the most exciting thing to happen in the AI space in quite some time. And this vision of the models getting good enough that you can have a local agent running for you on your computer or a different computer and do all of these amazing things is really quite remarkable. It feels to me like one of these moments where we unequivocally get to see the future.
I think our intent is that if companies work together with us in like a positive way, they can gain a lot and we can gain a lot as well, right? We're not trying to like replace replace existing industries like.
But can you? You're not trying to, but can you?
I mean, again, there's different ways things can go. And our hope is that we can work with these companies. We build models, we build products on top of those models, but also companies can further build on top of those products.
Okay, big names coming in there, and we'll get you all of that through the day. We need to wrap up on this edition of Markets Forward. We'll be back with more news and updates.